up as a kid. All a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from
Division that we have is the AFC North. For the AFC North, I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens to win the division. As much as it pains me to do that as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm not biased. If you guys been watching this channel for going on 2 years, you will know that I pride this channel on making unbiased takes. And even though I'm a Steelers fan and I don't like the Ravens, I have to show them respect and I have to be honest. I believe that the Ravens will win the AFC North this year. The Baltimore Ravens, they got better. Now, they lost Marshall Yanda, which is going to be a pretty solid loss because Marshall Yanda is not only a future Hall of Famer, but he's one of the best to ever play the game. So, that's going to be a pretty significant loss. It doesn't matter who ends up stepping in to fill those shoes. You're not going to get the same production at that position that you had with Marshall Yanda. Anytime you lose a future Hall of Famer, you're going to take a little bit of a step back. But the Ravens offensive line is still going to be amongst the best in the NFL. I'm not expecting the Ravens offense to take a step back. I still think the Ravens are going to have one of the best offenses in the NFL. People keep saying that people are going to have Lamar Jackson, his Baltimore Ravens offense figured out. And like I've been saying all offseason, you guys who keep saying that, you guys act like Lamar Jackson is still going to be the same quarterback that he was in 2019. Lamar Jackson is going to be better than what he was in 2019. And that's crazy because, a lot of you guys can say Lamar Jackson really reached his peak. That's not his peak. He's close to reaching his peak, but Lamar Jackson still has a lot of growth to make as a passer. And just because defensive coordinators are going to be game planning to stop the Baltimore Ravens offense, and they're going to have offseason to prepare for it. Just because you are watching film, you're preparing for it, doesn't mean you're going to be able to stop it. Bill Belichick, I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick was game planning all night and all week trying to figure out ways to stop the Baltimore Ravens offense, and even he couldn't stop it. Sometimes you just don't have the personnel to stop something. And just because you have a great game plan, you got to have the players that's going to be able to go out there and execute that game plan. And a lot of teams aren't going to be able to stop this Ravens offensive attack, especially with the fact that they added J.K. Dobbins, which they were already pretty low that halfback. Before they picked up J.K. Dobbins, they had Gus Edwards and you had Justice Hill on top of having Mark Ingram. So you go ahead and you add in J.K. Dobbins there. So now you got a really good rotation there. So you're going to have Mark Ingram, who's also going to beat you down, and you basically got Mark Ingram 2.0 and J.K. Dobbins, who is basically Mark Ingram. He's just a lot younger. So the Ravens are going to be a tough outing for any defense this year. If you want to beat the Baltimore Ravens, you got to not only have a good game plan, you got to set the edge, and you also have to be able to have a lot of depth on your defensive line. You got to be able to constantly be able to rotate guys in and out of the game and keep guys fresh, because you leave guys and you leave your defensive line in the whole entire game against Baltimore, not only are you going to get tired and you're going to get gassed, but you're going to get outmatched and you're going to get out physical, because the Baltimore Ravens are a very physical football team. Then you're going to have Marquise Brown on the outside, who people feel should have a breakout season. A lot of Ravens fans are really excited about what Hollywood Brown can do for them this season. I think he's a guy who could probably have a 1,200, 1,400 yard season, depending on, the production that he has there, and if he's able to stay healthy. And he also played injured as well. So I'm interested to see what Marquise Brown does this year. You got Mark Andrews there. You got rid of Hayden Hurst. And it's basically another mystery to see who's going to step up as the wide receiver 2 in Baltimore. A lot of people are feeling it can be Miles Boykin, but I think it can be anybody who steps up and contributes at that second wide receiver spot for the Ravens this year. So, I don't think the Ravens offense is going to take that much of a step back. And the only reason people, here's the only logical explanation people keep saying to me about the Ravens offense falling off. When I ask people, I'd be like, man, why do you think the Ravens offense is going to take a step back? Man, look at Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson is going to get injured. He's going to be the next RG3. Lamar Jackson is going on year 3 of his NFL career, and he has yet to miss a single game that he's been a starter in suffering due to injury. He's never had any nagging injuries. I haven't seen nothing about Lamar Jackson battling any type of injury. Even back to his days in college, he played in basically every single game in college, never had injury problems in college. So I find it ironic how RG3 was injury plagued during his time in Baylor, and then when he came to the NFL, he was injury prone. But yeah, you guys are going to try to say that Lamar Jackson is going to be injury prone, even though he has never missed a single game of football. He's never missed a single game in the NFL as of right now. He's never missed a single game due to injury in college football. So, I mean, I find it crazy how a lot of you guys are going to compare Lamar Jackson to RG3 when RG3 already had injury concerns coming out of the University of Baylor compared to Lamar Jackson being perfectly healthy. Like, that makes no sense to me. But I guess everybody in the comment section on YouTube that thinks Lamar Jackson is going to be injury prone, I guess everybody on YouTube is doctors, and everybody has their doctor's degree, and everybody has a PhD and knowing the human body and things like that. So Lamar Jackson is going to be perfectly fine until Lamar Jackson actually gets injured. That's when I have my concerns. You just can't predict injuries. Like, how are you going to say a guy's going to get injured when they've never had an injury in all their years playing football, but yet all of a sudden they're going to become injury prone? But that's just the explanation people use when it comes to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, the more he progresses as a passer, the less he's going to be running with the football, because since he'll be so much developed as a passer, he won't have to rely on his legs. Then you got Greg Roman, who is going into his second year as the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. So it's going to be interesting to monitor Lamar Jackson's growth and development under Greg Roman as he comes back and returns as the Ravens play caller this year. And on the defense side of the football, I mean, you got even better on the defense side of the ball. Like, I don't think they lost anybody who was going to be like a pretty big loss. You also improve at the linebacker position. You get Patrick Queen, who I felt was who I mocked to go to the Baltimore Ravens. I wasn't surprised. Like, if Patrick Queen was there at the Ravens pick, they were going to go ahead and draft him. So you pick up Patrick Queen, you improve the linebacker position, then you basically trade for Calais Campbell in a one-sided trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So now you got Calais Campbell, Matthew Judon if he doesn't get traded. So you also got Jalen Ferguson, who I think will have a breakout year as well. Then you still probably got one of the best secondaries in the NFL. It's either them or the New England Patriots. You got Marlon Humphrey. You got Earl Thomas back there. You also have Chuck Clark as well. You got Marcus Peters, who was an All-Pro as well. So, I mean, this is a Baltimore Ravens team that got better. And I'm not talking about just a tad bit better. I'm talking about significantly better. Like, they're going to be really good up front. And the Steelers, I think the Steelers have a chance to win this division. It just all depends on how things unfold. But I think the Steelers also, you can't count them out. The Browns, I don't really know how I feel about the Browns. Like, the Browns should be a playoff team, but again, we've been saying this about the Browns for the last 2-3 seasons about how the Browns should make it to the playoffs. So, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens are my prediction to win the AFC North. And a lot of people, I don't really think I'm going to get a lot of backlash. Like, I know I'm a Steelers fan. I know some Steelers fans going to be like, man, you're a freaking sellout, man. You're a freaking Steelers fan. And you're going to choose the Baltimore freaking Ravens? Like, come on, bro. Like, I pride this channel on being unbiased. Like, yes, I hate the Ravens and things like that. And I want the Ravens to go 0-16 more than anybody. But again, I'm not a hater. And I'm not going to let my love for my favorite team cloud my judgment. I'm not going to be biased. If the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division, the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division. Like, some people just got to understand, like, sometimes teams in the division, like, it's just their time. The Steelers had their time when they were the team to beat in the AFC North for like the last 4 or 5 seasons. Now it's the Baltimore Ravens' turn to be the team to beat. They are the team to beat in the AFC North. Now Pittsburgh's still going to be a really good team. I still love my Steelers. I'm black and gold till I die. I bleed black and gold. And I still want the Steelers to win the AFC North. But if I'm being realistic, I think the Ravens have all the tools to win this division. And I think the Ravens are going to win the division. Now, will the Steelers make the playoffs? Yes, they will. Can the Browns make the playoffs? I think they have a good chance of making it to the playoffs. So, I mean, I'm choosing the Baltimore Ravens to win this division. I think Pittsburgh could play the Baltimore Ravens pretty closely. But I'm still siding with the Ravens. So, let me know what you guys think. And